Apple Hibiscus Tea Jelly is a really fun one for me. It kind of combines that floral with the apples, which is so much fun. I really appreciate the flavors that are in hibiscus tea, and so it's kind of fun to bring them into that apple jelly realm. Then I place 1 cup of hibiscus blossoms and 2 cups of boiling water into a container and allow it to steep for 5 minutes. I'll then place 1 quart of apple juice into my pan, which is the same as 4 cups, and I'll add 6 tablespoons of pectin and half of a teaspoon of butter. The butter is optional, but it really cuts down on the foaming, so I feel like it's a good idea. I'll then use my quart jar to collect my juice from my petals, to collect my tea. And I'm using a milk filter today, but you could use a coffee filter if you wanted to. This is just what I have on hand. And then essentially, I want to get all the juice out of my petals without having any of the sediment that the petals are often dried in, or the pieces of petal. Sometimes I'll put the petal in there, but it's a little bit chewy, so it's not always my preference. I then just kind of try and press out the liquid. Sometimes it takes it a minute to go through the strainer. After I've gotten out about a cup worth of liquid, I'll go ahead and take my petals out. I'll save those though, because they still have a lot of life in them, and so I'll just make some tea for us to use later. And my reserved liquid from my hibiscus tea. I also have 4 cups of sugar that I've pre-measured and I'll use a little bit later. Now I'll move this to the stove and bring it to a boil. With it at a nice boil, I'll add my 4 cups worth of sugar. And I want to add those all at once and then mix it in quickly so that it doesn't burn. I'll then bring it back to a boil. Now that I'm at a solid boil, I'll set my timer for 1 minute. Now I'll fill my half-pint jars up to 1/4 of an inch of headspace. Headspace is the space from the top of the food to the top of your jar. Apple really is such a great flavor. There's so many different flavors that you can combine with it because apples are such a sweet, subtle flavor all on their own that they allow other flavors to shine too. In our area, apples are actually really inexpensive, and so a lot of times I'll use them to kind of stretch the other flavors like the blackberries or the raspberries that are a little bit harder for me to get enough of. I actually have some in my garden. You would think that I would have plenty of extra, but not with 7 kids. Then I'll wipe off my rims with a clean, damp cloth, and this just makes it so that if there's anything that's gotten on the edge, it won't interfere with the seal. Then I'll place on my lids and rings until they're fingertip tight, and I have to go very fast because everything is so hot. I'll then place these in my boiling water bath and process them for 10 minutes if at sea level, but I'm at 1,200 feet, so I'll process them for 15. Now that it's come to a nice boil, I'll set the timer. The timer went off, so I'll remove the lid and turn off the heat and let it cool for 5 minutes. Then I place my jars on a heat-resistant surface where I'll let them sit for about 24 hours. I usually space them about 1 to 2 inches apart so that they can cool well and get a really good seal. After the 24 hours, I'll remove the ring and wash them with hot soapy water and then store them in a cool, dry, dark location and eat them in the next 1 to 3 years. Now, I am really excited about eating some of this because it's actually been over a year since I've made it before. Honestly, that's often the case with canning, isn't it? Because we can things according to when the season is, and it's usually once a year. Oh, it's so pretty. I'm a real fan of like the berry jams and whatnot, and so when I look at that, it makes me happy. I don't know, just the color. I'm eating it on sourdough right now, and even with the stronger flavor of the bread, I can still taste that subtleness of the apple and then that hibiscus tea flavor that I like so much.